Welcome to another episode of the Japan Reach podcast. Embark on an exciting journey through the heart of Japan, its vibrant culture, fascinating traditions, and the stories that make it truly extraordinary. Our team has traveled far and wide across Japan, immersing ourselves in its rich culture and connecting with its incredible people. Now we're bringing those unforgettable experiences straight to you. From hidden gems to captivating guest stories, each episode dives into what makes Japan unique and inspiring. I don't know about you, but over the years, I've had a lot of pets. We're talking dogs, mostly wiener dogs, because let's be honest, they're adorable, cats, hamsters, fish, anole lizards, and even a few hermit crabs. But you know what I have never had? A turtle. Now, I spend a fair bit of time scrolling through Japanese-related content online, and a few months ago I stumbled across a picture that made me take a double take. An elderly man casually walking a gigantic turtle through the streets of Tokyo. Naturally, I had to know more. So today I want to introduce you to this rather famous turtle, Bone-chan, and of course his devoted owner, Hisao Mitani. But before we dive into Bone-chan's story, let's take a little detour into the fascinating world of turtles in Japanese culture. The first turtle I ever encountered in a Japanese context was none other than Gamera, the tusked, jet-propelled, flying giant turtle. Gamera is basically Godzilla's weird but lovable cousin. He's been soaring across movie screens for over 50 years, serving as a friend to children and a heroic protector against other kaiju monsters. But Japan's turtle love goes way beyond Gamera. Turtles have been cultural symbols in East Asia for centuries, especially in China and more recently in Japan. One of the most iconic is Minogame, a mythical turtle with seaweed growing from its back. Because why not? Minogame symbolizes longevity and good fortune. In the Japanese folktale Urashima Taro, the hero rides on Minogame's back to a mythical, magical underwater palace. But enough about mythical turtles. Let's talk about the real star of this podcast, Bone-chan. Nearly 30 years ago, Hisao Mitani, a funeral director, and his wife were wandering through a pet store when they spotted a tiny baby tortoise, small enough to fit in the palm of her hand. It was love at first sight. They brought him home, completely unaware that this little guy was destined to become a giant. They named him Bone-chan after Oban, a Japanese festival where people honor their deceased relatives. Think of it as Japan's version of Memorial Day. The chan suffix is an affectionate, cutesy honorific used for children, close friends, or adorable pets. And Bone-chan definitely fits the adorable bill. What they didn't realize is that Bone-chan was an African spurred tortoise, the largest mainland tortoise on Earth. These gentle giants can grow up to 220 pounds and live for more than a century. So while tiny Bone-chan fit perfectly in their hands, he eventually grew into a walking boulder. For the first decade, Bone-chan grew slowly, but once he hit his tortoise teenage years, he suddenly hit a growth spurt. Now tipping the scales at 150 pounds and still growing, Bone-chan is basically the heavyweight champ of the Tokyo streets. When Bone-chan was about 10 years old, Mitani started taking him for neighborhood strolls. At first it was probably a bit of a novelty, a man walking his tortoise like you might walk a dog, but over time it became a local tradition. People began looking forward to their weekly sighting of Bone-chan clomping down the street like a slow-moving celebrity. And in the age of the internet, Bone-chan's fame spread beyond Tokyo. Photos and videos of this stylish, shelled superstar took over social media. Now here's the kicker. Bone-chan doesn't just walk the streets of Tokyo. He's a bona fide fashion icon. Mitani dresses him in custom-made shell covers and even little hats. That's right, tortoise hats. In fact, the first picture I ever saw of Bonchan, he was sporting a tiny cowboy hat, like he was headed to a reptile rodeo. You can't help but smile watching him slowly saunter by in his fashionable getup. He definitely has style, at least for a turtle. As you might guess, Bonchan is likely going to outlive his human bestie. With tortoises having lifespans of over 100 years, Mitani knows that Bonchan will be around long after he's gone. Mitani, now in his 60s, figures he has another decade of tortoise walks left in him, but he's already thinking ahead. He hopes to find some loving home for Bonchan when he's no longer able to care for him. Ideally, someone who will keep the tradition of neighborhood walks alive. Because let's face it, the world needs more Bonchan strolls, not less. So there you have it, a journey from the mythical Minogame to real-life tortoise sensation Bonchan. Whether he's bringing smiles to strangers on the streets of Tokyo or making people around the world smile at his fabulous fashion sense, Bonchan is proof that sometimes the slow and the steady really do win the race, at least when it comes to winning hearts. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please follow us to hear more fascinating stories about amazing Japan. Comment below if you have any idea for a future topic of discussion. God bless and Jamata.